Oh, hey guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Megasquirt project here on Nev's Garage. Now, in the last episode, we got stuck into setting up our nice new stepper idle control valve for the Megasquirt. Now, we got it all calibrated, we got it all wired up, so in this episode, we're going to fit it to the car and give it a burn. So, come on guys, let's get into it. So for testing purposes, I'm just going to tuck it here in the corner. Now they reckon air should go in through the bottom, up past the pintle and then out. So this one's the inlet. This one's the outlet. Like that. Alright, let's give it a go. Alrighty, so this is going to be purely experimental at this stage. So here we go. I have this one open. Cranking steps. This one open. Warm up steps. Have this one open. Try and make this one bigger. Alright, so the green bar down here, that's our current zone, here and here. Okay, so it's got cranking steps set at 70, and then warm up steps set at 105. So I actually want it a lot more open at cranking. So I'm going to put it up here. Now remember, our maximum steps is, what's our maximum steps? They're about 96, so we can't go above 96. Which means these here are going to be a lot less. Max, let's say 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 15, 10. Alright, so let's see what happens. This is going to be interesting. Alright, so we need some more here, that's not fast enough. Steps. quite rich AFR. So it does work because it's speeding up. Now we're just on the changeover point. Another IAC's at 10 steps. Alright, so let's get now into cranking. Let's see how that goes. So I'm going to raise this. some more. Raise it some more. I think I'll move it over here so we can see engine speed. What I'll do is change this crank to run taper time down to say 3 seconds. Let's try that. Cool, so there we go. I'll let the car cool down now and I'll try it again, see how it behaves. Alright, so the car's been sitting for a few hours now. Yeah, 36 degrees coolant temp, so it's not quite a stone cold start, but anyway, we'll see what happens. So the green dot shows where we are. Let's see what happens. So yeah, that's not too bad. Not too bad for an almost cold start. And we should see it slow down as she goes down this incline here. Rapid slowdown as it approaches normal operating temperature. I think I may move this dot up here a bit so that ramp down is not as steep. Well, it definitely works, so it's just going to be a matter of fine-tuning it now. So I'm very, very happy. Alright, so I reckon it's time we put the remote stepper away. Alright, so I've fabbed up this little mounting plate for the IAC. It's just made of folded aluminium. I put nutserts in to screw the IAC down. It's going to mount on there like that. It's just got a little foam block to rest on the inner wheel arch so it doesn't rattle, and a little hole so I can tie the wiring down tidily. So this is going to mount to the side of the airbox. Now to mount the valve. Alright, so there it is. Now I'll put the airbox back together and get zip ties and we're all finished. So if you look carefully, you can see it down in there. There's the little fella. Suppose we better give it a try now, eh? Alright, so some time has passed and I've done some pretty intensive tuning with all the fuel tables and ignition tables and everything, and also adjusted all the idle settings, and it's going really good. So I'm going to show you where it's at now. Okay, so it has beautiful starts. Now while the engine's warming up, let me open all the windows and show you all my settings. So obviously we're on warm-up enrichment at the moment. So here's our cold start curve. Right, so I might just keep him open for you, put him over here. Have this one open as well, right? Now I have it set up with full closed loop idle control now, which means I tell it what RPM I want and the computer takes over the control of the valve and gives me that RPM. Okay, so here we see our curves. So this one's our warm-up enrichment mixture curve. This one is our target RPM curve. Okay, so you can see here's coolant temp on the bottom, here's RPM on the side. And we'll see as the engine warms up, I've got it so that it drops the RPM back, and you can actually hear it dropping it back now, and of course you can see it over here. Alright, so I'm going to close this warm-up enrichment mixture window. I'm going to open some of the setting windows now and give you a gander at them. So here's my closed loop settings. I've found these settings to work really, really well. Here's the basic idle control settings. Now you really can't set up closed loop idle until you have your fuel maps good enough so that they're stable, so the engine isn't hunting or anything. So I'm going to show you what I've done there. Remember, in some of the past episodes we've set up table switching based on car speed. So you'll see here we're on fuel map number 3/4, which is just my idle map. So I'll show you that map and how I've tuned that to have such good idle. Okay. Is VE table 3 here. So you'll see we're hovering around this cell here. A little bit hard to see in 2D, so let me switch it to 3D. Here's a 3D map here. Now you'll see this is my idle zone. So you see what I've done there. I've made a really steep ramp here just shy of where it idles and made it leaner, which pushes it up into this zone here, and also above there where it normally idles I've made it a little bit rich where it sits here, so it really likes to, you know, hover in this area here. Okay, now I'm going to put that beside my ignition table as well. Ignition table 3. I'm going to put that one into 3D, and you'll see I've done the same there. Right, see I've got a nice steep ramp here, so that if the car slows down all of a sudden, this really steep ramp of advance here pushes it back into my idle area. Also, if the idle speed speeds up a little bit, this ramp pushes it back down. Pretty cool, huh? So that really helps with my idle control. And of course, once the car starts moving, it pushes it into my proper fuel and ignition maps. Alright, so we're on normal operating temperature now. Okay, now you'll see with my idle curve, my idle target curve here, I've got RPM target set at about 850, and you'll see it just hovering around 850 there. Right, now I'll show you how well it works. Just going to give the throttle a quick blip. See how well it settles down. I'm just going to give it a nice gentle increase in speed now, and let it just drop down by itself. See that? Pretty cool, huh? Now let me just put some load on the engine by knocking it into gear. How's that? You just have that momentary dip in RPM, and then the computer takes over and controls the idle stepper and brings it back up to speed. Now if I kick it out of gear again, you have a little tiny raise and then it settles back down again. Now it never would have done that on the factory computer, so that it didn't slow down too much when it was idling in gear. I had to have the throttle screw set open to about 1000 RPM, so that when it dropped, it went down to 850, because there was nothing to bring it back up. But not anymore, baby. I've now got full confidence in my idle control, that no matter how much load is on the engine, it's going to settle around that 850, or whatever I choose to set it at in the future. But for now, I'm just happy with that. Cool, hey? Alright, now I'm just going to turn the motor off, and I'll show you how it hot starts. Nice, hey? You get that nice flare up in the RPM when it starts, and then a gentle drop down. That's all done through these settings. The idle cranking steps. And this crank to run taper time. Tells the computer the delay I want between the starting crank speed and my normal idle speed. And these PID settings here control how smoothly that decel happens. Pretty neat, hey? Alright guys, well that's about it for this episode of the Megasquirt project. Now, next time, I think we're going to really start doing some on-road cruising speed tuning of the fuel maps. So make sure you tune into that. Now what you want to do is hit us up on our socials, @GossipMedia. Make sure you follow us there, and also subscribe to us here on our channel, so you're not going to miss that new episode, and also all of the regular Nev's Garage episodes in between. So that's it from me. Take care everyone, and we'll see you next time on Nev's Garage. Hooroo!